Hello.
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 Hi, welcome to Scott Tyndall's Home Shop. I am Scott.
And I think I'm Tara.
And the girl behind the camera is Tara. This video is not made for kids. This video is made for the general public. So, there you go. Alright, what we're doing today is replacing the bearings and the blade towers on the lawnmower. And so right now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to use the tool to, come on, you can do it. It keeps moving. Okay, that's not wanting to. Alright, this one's not wanting to stay put.
It's supposed to be that one that's trouble.
It's always the, yeah, no, but I don't want to keep beating on the, well, it's not hurting it. Good gravy. There we go.
Sure.
Alright, that one goes on the top. Now I can take the tool, turn it over the proper way, go down through there, line it up in the center. Drive the bottom bearing out. Put that over there, and now I need to find the two best ones, and which are the two top ones. And I am going to step over to the grinder. I meant step over to the wire brush and clean these off. And Pierre, I've moved the towel, so you're not going to see it get caught up in the grinder. I'm sorry. You're just not going to get to see that. Alright. Let's morph them over to the pre-morph. Let's morph them over to the other side of the room. 1, 2, 3. Alright, see? Now we're on the other side of the shop. I'm just using the side of the brush to clean up the little grit off of the bearing, because we're going to take the seals out. And we're going, the only time I take the seals out if I have like multiple bearings, like 4 or 5 bearings, and 2 of them are good, then that means I have multiple seals in case I mess one up. But I've done this many a times. You ease out that little rubber seal, both sides, wash out the grease, clean it out real good, and then repack it with fresh grease. Alright, now back to the other side of the shop. Alright, this bearing was a little loose, so I'm just going to pin the socket that it goes in, the bore, I guess you would call it. It ain't gonna do it much because it's not that loose. And I don't want to break it. So we're just gonna do it all the way around. And it works really good if you have a sharp punch. Alright, so now it just knurls it around in there. So now the bearing will fit. So right now what we're going to do, Tara, will you get me a little bit of mineral spirits, please?
Okay. Your glasses.
Thank you, dear. Just wash out of here.
Did we already use all the
No, it's sitting over there. Alright. We're just going to put a little bit right here. That's enough.
Pour some water.
Yeah, but you know it ain't. Alright. Terry, can you put on some safety glasses and a face shield and go clean up these shafts on the wire wheel?
Yes, sir.
Remember, don't ever put your hands in a place where you can get hurt. Always stand off to the side.
Okay.
Alright, let's get these little seals out. If you do it just right, they just come right out. Like that. Yeah, see, it just lifts right out. And that's crunchy, dried up grease. And they'll go right back in there. And so now we're just going to set that in there, and that's actually magnetized down, which is okay, but it wasn't really what I wanted it to do. You just go in there, push it to the outside, and just remember that you're only using the razor knife because it's got a thin edge. You want to make sure you keep the blunt edge when you're twisting it up. Use the blunt edge to raise it. Because if you don't, you'll cut it and then it won't seal, and then all this work will be in vain.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes.
I have to do like all this right here too, right? And then
Right.
over here.
Alright, so now we're just going to clean up the Terry, you mean acid brush?
Yes, sir.
It feels kind of gritty. Let me blow it out. Yeah. No play. No discernible play. You can't tell. All I want to do is get the grease out, and then we're going to pump fresh grease in it. That one sounds like crap. Put them in your box or my box, wherever you want to put them. There we go. So now that's all cleaned out. I'm gonna have to get to blow the bristle hair out of there because it's deciding it wants to go. And it's I'm feeling the crunchy. I'm gonna blow all the grit out of it again. Now, lay that one up there so it doesn't get full of grit. And we'll take this one and do the same thing. Alright, there we go. Now this one's all clean. Now we got all the grease and the grime and grit out of there. Clean my hands up. Alright, we'll set this right there. Get that out of the way. Clean our table. Wait a minute, hold on. Clean our table off. Now we're going to try, and it's probably not going to work. It'll work if I push it in the backside, but we're going to try to take an old hypodermic needle it's clean, it hasn't been used, but it was one that I was using. Alright, yeah, so that's not going to work. Let's take it up the back. Come on. There we go. And we're just gonna feed some in, load it up from the back. And just fill her up. I have a syringe for glue that we were gonna try to use. Here, let's take this off for the time being because I'm not letting the air out fast enough. There we go. And I might just leave this thing full. I don't think it's going to take that much grease to grease these two bearings. But we can always use it to stick grease in little tiny spots where we need it. Alright, that's a half a syringe of grease. Don't really see where we need it any more than that. There we go. Well, now that's a full syringe. So put the lid back on. Reinsert the needle. This is a very big, very large bore needle. So let's see if I can do this or if this is going to be another failure. Don't know if where y'all can see me or not. Let's point you down a little bit. It's kind of hard to squeeze it through that little needle, but I can put it right where I want it. There you go. And we'll just then press in the seals and pop right in. Pop the other in. And give her a little run. Yep, she's nice and tight. Well, she's full of grease. It only works on bearings that have simply gone dry from use. It doesn't work on bearings that have gone dry from being excessively hot, because then the metal wears. Well, the metal wears in bearings all the time. They wear out. I'm not ignorant. I know that. I know this. But if you get one like this that is rolling free, it doesn't have any crunchy spots in it, it doesn't drag, it doesn't have any slop in it, then it's a candidate for cleaning it out and re-greasing it. And getting yourself maybe another summer, or another summer and a half, or another 2 summers worth of cutting out of it before you have to go spend $90 for the whole tower. And that's what the whole tower costs, is $90. So this one is rolling. There's no crunchy in it, no slack. So while we got it here, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put it in the top. Yeah, we can put it in the top. And here's the bearing insert tool. There's the bearing, and they're nice and secure. Now that center collar goes in there. And now, where's the 2G bearings, Tara? And I have 2. Well, I had 2 until Clumsy McClumsclums over here.
Hey, you're the one who didn't grab one.
Alright, so that's a brand new.
Were you looking for this?
Yes, hello, look, the invisible hand just popped up from the bench and handed me a bearing.
There you go.
6204 Timken. Doesn't say where it's made.
Look on the box. They're made in Taiwan.
Made in China.
The other one's that.
Well, it's still a Timken. Alright, so now we need to tap this one in. There we go. That one's in. Put this shaft back through. And that's about the same amount of gap I got on the other one. Alright. Push that down. Push that down, push that down. Push this down, get it lined up. Yeah, there we go. Now take one of these. There we go. No more crunchy. No more grinding and howling.
Oh.
Now let's see how this bearing goes in. Oh, we got to grease it. Alright, here you can watch what we're doing here. Now I need to, hold on, we got to clean our area, because we just got through knocking dust everywhere. So move the grease, move the bearings. There we go. People, long time watchers of the channel will know. We'll get the joke in that. Alright, so here's the bearing. I made a hammer. I got these little handle kits, or this little squishy rubber and this big heat shrink tube. And so this hammer handle broke, and it was a little wooden handle like this, and I didn't want to go spend the money for it. I already had this pipe. So, and you can see there's where it folded over itself. But if you notice it, when you grab it, that part of your hand right there makes a little flat spot right there. It's round right here, round right there, but right there it's flat, and that just fits perfect right there to line that hammer up right there, lined up like that. And then you can, I mean, you can't even tell it, and it's works good. Yeah, see, that's a hammer test.
That's a hammer test.
Yes. All right, now we may need to put some more grease in this, in the syringe. Uh-oh, I hear somebody.
Hi, Mommy.
Is that the mommy?
Yeah, I didn't want me to say anything, but...
Well, she needed to walk a little bit softer before,
Could be Kevin.
No, Kevin doesn't walk soft at all, baby. Your brother doesn't even know the word soft.
Mm.
If you ask him to describe his girlfriend, she's not rough.
Hey, Mommy. I'm good. You have a good day at work? Mm-hmm. Have a good day at school? Yeah.
The wife is working from home so that she doesn't contract I don't want to go to work virus. Ah, crap. That would be enough in my mind, but we get to shove some more in there. Alright, take the tip off because it's full of, it's really small hole and it's not letting the grease flow out. Terry, will you get me a paper towel or a rag or something, baby? So maybe I don't have to, well, give me a grease rag first so that I can wipe the big chunks off, and then, yeah. I don't know what happened to all those red rags. I mean, where are they?
I think we used most of them, and most of them we threw away because they were all dirty and too.
They must have gotten thrown away.
They're small and they get dirty very easily. So I mean, yeah.
All right. So there's the syringe full of grease again. And I tell you something, there, when you wipe your greasy hands off on a rag, wipe it off on one corner or one end, because you never know when. You might need the rag, and if you just wipe it in the middle, then you've killed the entire rag for one glob of grease, and now you can't just cut the end off of it. Like if it gets stained or gets paint on it or something, you just move your hand. There we go. Put the needle back in and go back to my laboratory experiment of grease insertion. It's weird, this needle's not made to come out the end, it comes out the side. Alright, there we go. Wipe that down in there. Just wipe the perimeter. Just lay it down flat on the rag. There you go, Scott. Act like you got some sense. I'm not talking to myself. See, I think that's why people create YouTube videos, because they talk to themselves, and then that way they don't want their neighbors to think they're crazy, so they say, hey, I'm making a video, that's all. Alright. Put these back in. See, snap right back in. Nice and tight, all snug. Now we're going to put this one in. And I must confess that I used the wrong insert a while ago. You turn that fan on there on low. Alright, now this fits the bearing. You turn it this way just a little bit. It is on low. Oh. Right, now turn it this way a little bit. That's good. There we go. That's in there nice and tight and not moving. So I just knurled it around the edges. It just turns up a little bit of metal. And you got to do it the same all the way around so you don't move the bearing over to one side. But in the odd case that you do need to move the bearing, you can do that. Or you need to move something over that's in the bore, you can dimple it on one side and not dimple it on the other side to shift it a little bit. If it's I can't think of the word. If it's got something to do with wear, if it's worn out, you need to line it back up. Alright, so now we're going to put the crush sleeve in there. And now we're going to put the brand new Timken bearing on the bottom. Because it takes all the abuse from the sawing, from the cutting. And when you hear it make that solid smack, it's in there.
Now you need to put the
shaft in. Using a brass hammer to tap. Oops, come on, go in. There we go. It got going in there crooked for some reason. This bearing up here doesn't want to. Here's the good thing about keeping bearings greased up and lubed up. Why lubing up a bearing properly is important. If this goes dry, then it's going to start putting drag on this outer race. And sometimes these outer races are slip fit. They're not press fit or even tap in fit. They're just slipping when you slip them in with your hand. And the least little bit of resistance on the rollers or the balls, and the outer race starts spinning, and it wears down whatever's holding it, and then it doesn't work as a bearing at all. It's just a bushing then, and a poor one at that. Alright, so now we go take our plate, that goes down on there first, then our crush washer, our crush tube, now our nut, Terry, get on here, oh wait a minute, wrong nut. Now, we're, ow!
Why'd you do that?
Well, the trigger was sensitive.
What'd you do to it? You
look at there.
Trigger.
Nice new bearing in the bottom, and these are bearings that came out are actually simply no slop. Now, if I put an indicator on it, you could probably feel it, but I don't feel it. I don't feel the center's not wobbling. It's just dry. So that stands a chance. That's a candidate for being re-greased and put back in service. Now, I say that because these bearings, unless you buy them from a wholesale bearing warehouse, which I've just recently found out thanks to James Green and who else? Somebody else on Facebook, that part of YouTube, that told me about it. But anyway, I think James Green was one of them. These bearings are $25 a pop, and so just the two alone's, $50, and you got $150 just in bearings. Now you can find them cheaper, you can find them more expensive, but middle of the line is $25. So if you got one that's just dry and needs some grease, ease the seals out, provided it, now if it's gotten hot and the seals aren't touching, like this one right here actually isn't touching the inside, then probably what's going to happen is that grease is just going to sling right back out. Yeah, this bearing is not, let me see here. No, it's still there. It's not in the best of shape. But this bearing is rusty crusty. You clean it out, and you roll it and test it, and if it feels good, re-grease it and stick it back in. Alright.
Now what?
Now we're going to go stick them back in, and they'll be in, and this will be the end of it. And we'll bring you back after we got that done. See you in just a minute.